Hey there guys, this is John from AJ Mancave Hobbies. Today I'm sharing with you my PlayStation setup. To begin with, let's talk about my TV. This is the LG C1 OLED TV. This is a 55-inch TV. It's one of the most expensive ones I've ever bought, but it's absolutely brilliant. It does have some issues though. Maybe I'll talk about that in another video. And paired with this TV is my Sony S2000 3.1 channel soundbar, which is compatible with Dolby Atmos and DTS-X. Of course, I have this huge subwoofer that came with the soundbar. And then over in the middle of the TV, I have different controllers from PlayStation eras. I have the PlayStation 1 controller, the PlayStation 2 controller, the PlayStation 3 controller, the PlayStation 4 controller, the PlayStation 5 controller, and I also have the charging stand for the PlayStation 5 controller. I actually have 3 of these because I'm constantly charging this because it's constantly running out of power, and I'm the only one using it. But I do have these. I really like this purple one and also my fancy God of War special edition one. Really awesome. And just to show you guys how I do my audio and video, I use this HDMI splitter. So what happens is I plug in my console into the input, and then it splits the video and audio. The video going to the TV and the audio going in directly into the soundbar. And of course, first up is the PlayStation 5. Now, a brief story about the PlayStation 5, because when this thing launched, I couldn't even get one. It sold out so quickly, but my friend was able to get 2, and I was able to get one from him. Now they've announced the PlayStation 5 Pro, which is an even more powerful version of this, but it doesn't have the disc drive. The disc drive is where the money is at, guys, especially if you have a physical media collection. So I think I'll be keeping this one for a long time. Next is the PlayStation VR, or virtual reality. This is the VR1, the first generation. They came up with the VR2, I think maybe a year and a half ago, but they were fire sailing these, so I had no choice but to pick one up to see what all the hype was about. To be fair, I mainly bought it to watch 3D Blu-rays. You can see on the left is the headset. This is where you put your head in, and then you can see all the 3D effects through these lenses. There is a headphone jack. You can listen to the audio through there. These are the PlayStation Move controllers. So instead of using, the regular PlayStation 4 controller, you can use these to move around. It does have a motion sensor. It uses these light. This is it lit up because it's currently on. You use this. There's a trigger. There's various buttons to press, and there's a camera that's hooked up to the TV at the very top that senses where your movements are in order to move in the game. Really cool. Not implemented the best for this generation, but I heard that the PlayStation VR 2 is a bit better. Of course, everything is connected to this box here in order to process the 3D, which goes to the PlayStation 4. Now, this PlayStation 4 is my launch one. I bought it with the Xbox One in 2013, and I never really wanted to upgrade it, so this is the one that I'm going to have. This can play 3D Blu-rays. Just a note, the PlayStation 5 can't. That's why I have it all set up here. But I really enjoyed the PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 4 was probably one of the more... is the time when I played more games, and all the games were a bit more refined. Moving on, I have the PlayStation 3. Now, this is my favorite console of all time, and this is the PS3 Super Slim. This is like the 3rd iteration of it, and 3rd iteration also means it got a bit cheaper. So you can see how you open the disc drive is flicking this flap over and putting the disc in there. However, I will say that I bought it because it was white. This white is a little bit different. It's an eggshell white, but I watched so many movies on the PS3. I really loved it so much that I bought 3 of them. I have a black one, this one, and I have 2 black ones. One is the Super Slim, one is the Slim, and this is also Super Slim. Next is the PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 2 is one of the most popular consoles of all time. This is the era of DVDs as well. This thing can play DVDs, but I never really used it because I always had the PS3. And then you're probably wondering, how do I plug in this PS2 to a modern TV? It doesn't have really old inputs. Obviously, the LG C1 uses HDMI only. Very easy. I use this, you could call this a scaler, a converter. Basically what happens is I plug the old inputs. This is a component meaning the video is split into 3 different signals, and then the audio is split into left and right. And then I plug in the other side to the HDMI to my TV, and then you're able to play it. This thing is able to convert the signal. I know there's more expensive solutions such as the RetroTink, but that's really expensive and they tend to sell out very quickly because a lot of people want to relive their CRT TV days. And a couple other things that this thing can do, it can also do S-video. You can see the plug in the middle, and it can do composite, which is the yellow cable that does the whole video signal as well. I've plugged in like an N64 into this. It does work. I'd say that this is just okay at best. If you really want to play PlayStation 2 games or older games, playing on a CRT is your best solution. But because I want to have my entire Sony setup here, it makes sense to have something like this to be able to do it. And then this is not a real PlayStation 1. This is the PlayStation Classic. This is just an anniversary game box that Sony made when Nintendo was making a similar product, the Nintendo Classic, the Super Nintendo Classic, and they wanted in on that money. I had bought this originally for the full price. I think it was almost $100. But because this thing was so poorly done and implemented, they only had 20 games, and they weren't the most iconic games. They're just 20 games that were a little bit whatever. People were returning them. People didn't want them. And I saw this at Costco for $20 or $30. What I did was I returned the full price one and I bought the discounted one. And then a lot of people figured out how to hack this guy and put like hundreds of games on it. I thought that was a brilliant idea. I've also hacked it. You just need to do some software modifications onto a USB and it works. Maybe I'll go into that another time, but this is probably the best PlayStation 1 console you could get. It can play all the PlayStation 1 games and some other ones too, if you know what I mean. And then to round it out, I have the Sony handhelds. This is when they were competing with Nintendo. I think they're still trying to compete with Nintendo, to be honest, but I'm not really interested in the PlayStation Portal at the moment. This is the PlayStation Vita. This is probably the best in terms of quality, but the smallest in terms of library of games. Sony wanted this thing to die, but people kept it alive by continuing to publish more games for it. They've tried to close the store a lot of different times. I think it's done now, but I really liked it. People like to play this handheld for visual novels, where this is actually a touch screen and the back is also a touch screen. It had a lot of interesting features that I think eventually made its way and inspired some of the Switch mechanics. I don't know. I think this was a pioneer of a lot of the handhelds that we have now. Of course, the PSP, which is Sony's first handheld. This uses UMDs. UMDs are Universal Media Disc, or they're basically mini DVDs. I'm not really sure how much storage is in here, but yeah, this case was supposed to make it proprietary. Sony continues to make proprietary hardware and accessories. And of course, in the back, just hiding out, is this little passport USB looking thing. This is the PS Vita, but as a console. So you can plug this into your TV and play. This is the PlayStation Vita TV. It didn't really do too well, but I really quite like the form factor. It's so small, but it can play a lot of games. And then for those that are wondering, no, I don't have a Betamax machine, but I do have a VCR. So on the very far right, I'm still kind of working on this. This is my father-in-law's DVD VCR combo from Sony. I haven't really incorporated in this setup because I've already run out of space. But then too, because VCRs don't really work too well on the modern TV, even using this thing, I haven't really had a desire to watch a a videotape on the the OLED TV. I do have a CRT TV, so when I do the retro setup video, I'll show you guys a little bit more of that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed my Sony setup. If you're a big fan of Sony and you guys have a setup, I'd love to see your setup. So please, make some videos. I want to see it. If not, tell me, does your setup look kind of like this? And do you guys have any questions about what this setup can do? I've been able to play so many different formats using different solutions here, and I'm really happy because I love Sony. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you love Sony as well. And for the next video, I'll probably be doing something related to the retro setup and also my Xbox setup. Okay, cheers guys.